My name is Joey, and this is the Gandee Show. Happy holidays, everybody. And I have to start this episode out by saying 250 subscribers. You guys are incredible. It just, thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. You know, I really believe that God preserved me through heroin addiction so that I can do exactly what I'm doing right now. And just want to, so there's something called confirmation bias. And what it means is our brains are wired to continually search for evidence to support our beliefs. So to me, the fact that before I started this, I had less than 100 subscribers, and we're about to do episode 11 right now, and I'm at 250 subscribers. It just, to me, that means that like what I'm doing is it's working, and maybe it's helping somebody, and I'm just so grateful for that because it gives me purpose. It makes me know that, I went through addiction for a reason because there's just some things you can't learn in a book. And because of my experiences, I am now uniquely qualified to help somebody who's struggling. And I just can't think of anything cooler than that to do, you know? So thank you. Thank you. Thank you for all your support. Thank you so much. Welcome back to the Gandee Show. With the holidays here, I want to talk about something that is important. It should be important to a lot of us, and that is staying sober in a society that condones drinking. It's not only accepted, it's encouraged. So I think this is important for us to talk about. Everywhere we look, there's always something, right? Family gatherings, office parties, celebrations, and for most people, it's normal. But for people like us, it can mean life or death. So let's get into it. We're going to talk about why the holidays can be a high risk time, how to set boundaries with family, what an escape plan looks like, and why no matter what's happening around us, protecting our sobriety is our number one priority, no matter what, because without it, we have nothing. The holidays are not going to be easy, and that's okay. Like the holidays amplify everything. Family expectations, old memories, loneliness, pressure to be festive, social events full of alcohol, right? Yesterday I went to Tower City with my family. Alcohol is readily available everywhere you go. Like I talked about in my last episode, I have filled my life with so many wonderful things that I couldn't even think about relapsing, right? But that doesn't mean that I'm not at risk. It's because our culture normalizes it. And normal doesn't mean it's safe for us, though. And if the holidays feel hard, it does not mean you're weak at all. It just means that you're human and that you're aware and that you're choosing life today. And those are all really important things. And I want to remind you of something right now. Your sobriety is not an inconvenience. It is an absolute miracle. If you need evidence that miracles still happen in our lifetime and you have been through the trenches of addiction, look in the mirror. I know I can speak for myself and say that I absolutely should not be here. Very lucky to be alive. And I know that there's people out there. I know people watching this can relate to that as well. So please just remember that your sobriety is not an inconvenience. You are a miracle. And I'm proud of you. But people might not understand your struggle, and that does not change your responsibility to protect yourself. I feel like this sounds harsh when I say it out loud, but no one's coming to save you. You have to protect yourself. And we cannot expect the world to change just because we got sober. Life goes on. And one of the biggest traps early in recovery is expecting the world to adjust to us, right? Because we're sober now, right? And if you're in that stage right now, I don't want it to sound like I'm talking down to you, because I felt that same way. I remember feeling like entitled or something. Like, maybe that's not the right word, maybe it is. But like, like, eh, nobody owes us anything because we got sober, right? We're finally doing what we're supposed to do. So like, I don't want that to get mistaken. Like, you know, don't be a victim, and don't be entitled. Just be aware. Be aware that your sobriety is the number one priority. Like I said, one of the biggest traps in early recovery is expecting the world to adjust to us. Like, oh, I'm sober now, so no one's gonna drink around me, right? Or I'm sober now, so everyone will understand and support me. Or I'm sober, so I shouldn't have to explain myself. But the truth is, the world does not rearrange itself just because we get sober. People are still gonna drink, parties will still be the same, family will still be chaotic. Some people will still be toxic and minimize your journey. And that's okay, because sobriety is not about controlling what's outside of you, it's about controlling what's inside of you. And that's the only thing that we can control. My whole reality shifted once I became cognizant of what I just said. Once I became like an active participant in not trying to control external things, but working on controlling what I can, and that's me and my attitude and the way I react. My life changed dramatically, and for the better. Let's talk about boundaries, because without them the holidays can destroy you. Like I said earlier, this is not a joke. This is not a game. This is life or death. Family can be some of our biggest triggers. I used to use with my mom, so that could be obviously problematic and potentially hazardous to my sobriety. It's not because they're bad people, um, but it's because they're familiar. Familiar wounds, familiar patterns, and you're allowed to say things like, "I'm not comfortable being around alcohol right now," or "I'll be leaving early," or "Please don't offer me a drink," or "If things get heated, I'm stepping outside." You're allowed to protect your peace, and you're allowed to protect your sobriety. It's crucial. And boundaries do not mean that you love your family less. This is something that is really hard for me, because I feel like I'm having a hard time finding a balance between that. I didn't speak to my mother at all for more than a year when I first got sober. And then she got locked up, and she reached out to me when she was in jail, and we started talking via text. And then when she got out of jail, stopped reaching out to her, and I stopped hearing from her as well. And I kind of just figured maybe, she just started using again and I'm not going to hear from her. But then she ended up reaching out to me, and she told me that she hadn't used since she got arrested. So we kind of started like communicating again, and we even met up a couple of times, and I got to see her, and it was really nice that she started using again, and I haven't heard from her. And it's really something that I struggle with, because part of me is like, well, I have to protect myself. I can't make anyone get sober. All the things that they tell you, right? But like, at the end of the day, that's still my mom, and I still love her, and I don't know if she's alive or dead right now. And then a part of me also thinks like, how can you help someone if you're not around, right? It's just something that I'm really struggling with still. And I'm sharing this with you because it's my goal to be vulnerable on here and transparent. I'm coming up on 3 years of sobriety, and I still struggle with things. So Boundaries don't mean that you love your family less. It means that you love your future more. And sometimes the hardest person to set boundaries with is you. I know for me it was. You have to ask yourself before any event, is this safe for me? Am I stable enough to attend this event? And is this worth the risk? You do not owe anyone your presence, especially if it costs you your sobriety. That is a fact. You do not have to go to every event. You don't have to stay long, and you don't have to pretend like everything's perfect either. I think you should prioritize quality over obligation every time. I think that one of the most practical life-saving tools in sobriety is having an escape plan. Never walk into a high risk or even a medium or moderate risk environment without a plan. Okay. And that means like, where are the exits? Uh, this is what an escape plan looks like. Where are the exits? Do not rely on a ride. Drive yourself. And if you can't drive yourself, have somebody that is a part of your support system. I'm not talking about necessarily your family. I'm talking about somebody that's a part of your recovery support system, somebody that's preferably also in recovery and prioritizes their sobriety over anything else and has your best interests. That's also something really valuable I learned in sobriety, was that there are people that want what's best for you and they don't want anything in return. If you need to leave fast, you leave. If you can't have somebody in your support system with you, have your phone with them on speed dial, right? A sponsor, a friend, someone that you trust. Text them before you go, hey, I'm heading into a difficult environment. Can you be available if I need to call you? That's simple. And set a time limit for yourself. I think that's super important. That's something I do that. I still do that. Even if I don't know for sure if there's going to be alcohol in a situation I'm going to, my woman and we have a plan. We set a time limit. Like, hey, we will leave at this time, and we stick to that. That's important. It's okay to give yourself permission to leave early. Know your triggers. If a moment someone opens up a bottle and you feel shaken, or don't tough it out. You don't owe anyone a relapse. That's for sure. And have a story prepared. I think that's really important. Not because you need to explain yourself, but because sometimes it just reduces drama. I'm tired, I had a long day, or I got to work in the morning, or anything. Just and again, you don't owe that to anybody, right? It's for your sake. And honestly, the point isn't even the reason, whatever the reason is. The point is getting out before the situation gets dangerous. That's what's most important. Your sobriety comes first every single time. If there's one message I would want you to take away from today's episode, it's this. If we don't have sobriety, we do not have anything. Nothing. If I were to relapse today, I would be homeless probably in a month. It would probably take a month, just because it would take that long for whatever rent cycle I just paid to come to the next one. Like, if I were to give up my sobriety today, I would be giving up so much. And no matter where you're at in your journey, no matter where you're at in your journey, if you give up your sobriety today, you will be giving up so much. Please, please, if you don't take nothing else out of this, please take that. You deserve to be happy. You deserve to have a good life, just like everybody else. I don't care what you've done. If we don't have our sobriety, we don't have our health, our clarity, our future, our purpose. And if we can't help ourselves, how can you ever help anybody else? I spent my whole life taking care of everybody but myself. I never learned how to take care of myself. You have to take care of yourself. Everything you're building, your peace, your relationships, your dreams, your career, healing, all of it depends on staying sober. All of it. And I know that looks different for everybody, but what doesn't look different for everybody is your sobriety. That is number one. You have nothing if you don't have sobriety. And people may not understand that. People may judge or pressure you or expect you to, just relax, have one. They don't have to face your battle or carry your consequences. You do. And because of that, you have every right to choose yourself. And I hope you do. This holiday season, I want you to protect your peace like your life depends on it, because it does. It absolutely does. Set boundaries, have a plan, know your worth, because you are worthy. Know your triggers, and remember this: you are not weak for walking away from a situation. You're strong because you're choosing life. You're not alone. I'm proud of you. I'm walking this with you. I'm walking this out with you every one day at a time. You are not alone. Thank you for watching another episode of The Gandee Show. And if you have something that you would like me to share with my audience, I would be honored to do that. You can email us at thegandyshow@gmail.com. And please take care of yourselves and your sobriety. And I'll see you in the next one. I'm out.